I'm looking for your advice on nutrition and calorie intake. I train between 8 to 12 hours a week and occasionally will throw in a higher volume week of 15 hours if life permits. I noticed a difference in my progress when I started consciously increasing my calorie intake compared to previous seasons, especially after back-to-back long rides, which is awesome. That's super good to hear. We see that across the board with everybody. When they start to take in enough to fuel their work, then they get faster. It's a big, very tight correlation. However, I often struggle to eat sufficient calories without resorting to dense sugar-rich foods like chocolate or snacks. So I assume he's talking about like donuts or like, really high in calories. And yes, they have carbohydrates, but that doesn't mean that they're the same as, brown GABA rice, for example, or vegetables or anything else, or chips or anything else like that. So Lauren says, what would you recommend? Are there a few nutritional swaps I can make, or should I look at improving my nutritional intake all around? So on the food option side of things, I think that he probably knows this. We've mentioned this on the podcast before. But Nate, you've actually talked like good alternatives for people. In this case, like what sort of things do you usually rely on, like healthy carb staples to be able to fuel yourself?
Yeah, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes. Those are kind of the main ones. I have so I saw on TikTok this is like it's like a vegetable hash that you can make ahead of time. But the problems with vegetable hash is the prep, right? Like to get a whole bunch of things cut up. But what I also saw is I'm getting a food processor that like will dice vegetables for you. So you just kind of like push it through. And it's back ordered. But what I want to do is, so you put sweet potatoes in, regular potatoes, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, anything you want. You dice them all up, and then you just bake them with some olive oil. And that's like a real good nutrient kind of hash. And then you could add that to quinoa or brown rice. You could put a protein on it. And then if you could play with different sauces to make different types of bowls. You can put some pork on it, whatever, tofu, or whatever your diet is. And I am very excited to make that and then kind of make extra for the week. And you can reheat it. And that's I think it's going to be a really good way for me to get some more vegetables in. But I mean, oatmeal too, that's great. Sweet potatoes are great. I already talked about potatoes. What are some more? Any type of berries, apples, bananas. Then you can do whole wheat pancakes, all those kind of things too. Those are delicious. I think someone here loves pancakes. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So with this too, it's not just down to making sure that that the foods are there. Ivy, you brought up a great point. It's also about like making sure, and Nate, you kind of alluded to this with like the food prep and everything else, but it's making sure that you have like strategies in place to be able to make this an easier or more convenient choice. If it always comes at like a great cost of convenience, like I don't have this food to prepared and I have to do this, and that's going to make it tough, right?
Yeah. It's not enough just to like make the right choices when you're in the grocery store and like pick things like meals and snacks that are, healthy and appropriate and what you need, but it also has to be presented in a way that makes it just as easy of a choice as like those like really quick snacks that are maybe not great. And I think that, meal prep and food prep can be like, people have this idea of like having like 30 containers in their fridge of all these like pre-portioned meals. And it does not have to be that. Like you don't have to, one example is to have like one sauce or like thing that can be applied to many different things. So like veggies prepared, like roasted in a certain way that can go in an egg scramble, that can go in tacos, that can like go on top of a salad. And, so you don't have to like pre-portion and pre-decide what that looks like. It just has to be like prepared so that when you need a quick snack, you can just like throw it on something and it's ready, and you don't have to like wait for rice to cook or like wait to roast veggies. Like they're there. And that food prep time, you also have to like schedule that or like consider that too. You can't like wait till Sunday afternoon after you've done like a 4 or 5 hour ride and expect yourself to have like the cognizant ability to think about food prep and what you want to eat that week. So scheduling that time is important too.
One thing I just made with my daughter, which was super fun, is like homemade fried rice. And you can do it with brown rice, and you can put extra frozen veggies in, so you can get it just how you want it. And then that stores so well in the refrigerator. And I just put it in a giant Ziploc bag and we ate it throughout the week. And then maybe it's a side dish for a meal, or maybe it's the main part with protein on it. And then we put on different types of sauce, like a peanut sauce one night or like a teriyaki sauce. And it's really key too when you food prep to get the ones that reheat well. If you kind of like try to preheat a bunch of like sliced steak and then microwave that, ugh, like you cannot eat that. But vegetables reheat really well, especially if you have an air fryer, stick it in that. That's really good. And then the fried rice too. It's super fun. You make it super garlicky and put a bunch of veggies in it and do brown rice. And it's great. And it's great cycling food too.
Yeah. One of the things that helps me too is making sure that, so I'm a list and spreadsheet sort of person, but having a list that I fill out throughout the week. When I think of these things, I actually put them down on the list, and it just makes it a lot easier. So then when I'm at the grocery store, like I don't have to stop and think about what I want to do. Also, it's really helpful to get recipe books that are really helpful. I know that this seems super logical, but a lot of the times we know these things exist, but we don't actually implement them. Right. So like, but having a recipe book, so then you can basically say, okay, this meal would work really well with this meal and this meal. So I can create the same ingredients and it can work across all of them. And then it makes it easy. But that going by that recipe book will just make it so that it's easier to grocery shop and to get it handled quickly and without, getting stuck and going down the wrong aisles, so to speak. Also with that too, when you're at the grocery store, I think that if you like, one of the principles that's good to follow is if you're shopping for meals, shop for meals, do not shop for hunger, right? Or do not shop for like what you crave at that time. And that's like a really important thing to be able to do. Keegan, you had a thought on this though, that like, and Ivy, you alluded to it. Like if you feel like you need to have these prepackaged containers that are labeled and all of this stuff, food prep can be daunting, right? Like how do you manage all of it? Because you can't eat. This is a good point. You're optimizing your lifestyle, like you mentioned, to the nth degree compared to a lot of us amateurs. So if you have to then add in a lot of stress on the nutrition side of things, that's going to make you slower on the bike. It's going to make you worse. So you can't afford that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think like kind of like Ivy mentioned, like food prep isn't necessarily like having all these meals lined out and everything planned. But you can like kind of make it easier for yourself. If you like plan ahead, you're like, okay, I may like have rice in the fridge pre-cooked, and like I always like to have like frozen broccoli in the freezer as well. I really don't like frozen vegetables, but that broccoli is one that I love, and it's super easy to do. Like, oh, I ran out of salad, I can just like throw some broccoli on the stove and saute it, and then all of a sudden you have some extra greens to go with your bowl or whatever. Sometimes you get like, I just get stuck in this like training groove, and you're like, oh, I just need to eat, and I eat protein, carbs, and you kind of like forget about grocery shopping and cooking and like life. You just get so stuck into this vortex of training. So it's nice to have like these things that make it easy to cook with and to eat. And I think the other thing is like after a hard ride, it's nice to be just come in, open the fridge, and like, oh, leftover like stir fry or whatever you made the night before. It's nice to try and make bigger so you have leftovers, which Sophia hates me for this because we don't have a lot of leftovers because I eat them all. And she always gets mad. She's like, I tried to make enough and you just eat it all. So I think, like try and cook, like when you're cooking for 2, you're like, I want to cook for 6 and have enough leftover food. And another like easy thing that I eat a lot after training is just like avocado toast, because you have carbs, fat, protein, you throw an egg on top, you're good to go. So I think you can keep it simple, but still be kind of prepared. And like when you're after a big training block or after a hard ride, or if you're like preparing like carb loading for a hard one the following day, like just eat, just like add rice or add pasta. You don't have to eat like, you don't have to go and like shove down cake and whatever else. You get the carbs. It's like rice and pasta is pretty simple carbs. And sometimes you have to think about it. You're like, oh, I've got a big training day. I need to eat more carbs. And you just like supplement it with rice or pasta or extra bread. I think it's not super hard to do. Like I eat fairly simply, kind of have a few meals that I cycle through, and I'm not complicated. I don't really cook out of or like a cookbook very often. Like, seems like I have like, as a pro athlete, I do have a fair bit of time, but you just like, you don't want to do it. You just want to sit on the couch and you're just blown out a lot of the time. So you don't want to have to like cook and plan and do all this. So I think every once in a while I'll like, oh, I'm going to make this meal because it's delicious. But it's not that I don't eat anything super fancy or like,
what are your meals that you cycle through?
I mean, normally there's, let's see, we do a lot of like bowls, like Nate mentioned, with like rice or like sweet potato. We eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I think those are awesome carbs. They're kind of a carb and veggie together. So I love them. I think that's an awesome awesome food. We do enchiladas a lot, and like kind of burritos type things, because it's kind of similar like things. You can change it the way it is. You can have like tacos one night, you can make enchiladas. It has like kind of all your food groups. Do a lot of curry actually. Do that maybe a couple times a week because it's super easy. It has broccoli, sweet potatoes, like everything in there you need, and it's healthy. And if you have a big training day, you just add more rice. So it's a pretty easy thing to do. Do pizza fairly often. Don't always make the dough like handmade. Sometimes you just get it at Trader Joe's or get like the pre-made dough, or you buy like a take and bake pizza, and then you can just like dress it up with other good things to make it better. And it's easy and fast. And yeah, I'd say that's kind of chicken mole out of the Instapot has been one that we make a ton because it's super fast. And it's delicious. That you can make, then you can use the leftovers, and you have leftovers in the fridge for bowls or enchiladas or tacos, whatever, the next couple of days. So
I'm hungry now.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Hungry, and Creed is still playing in my head.
With that, we should actually just roll into rapid fire. What do you guys say to that? Good with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good. We're all nodding our heads like everyone can hear us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Most important question, I think, of the whole time from Phil. He says, chocolate. Do you put it in the fridge or do you put it in the cupboard? I have a strong stance on this. Big surprise. I care about something that matters very little, but
Keep it in
I have a strong stance. Yeah. Right. Can't put chocolate in a fridge. It loses all flavor. Like if you do that, and then it's like, it cracks and it breaks. Right. I don't know. Keegan.
I 100% agree. Shouldn't be warm, but it needs to be, it's like red wine. It needs to be a nice, like 50 to 60 degrees. Dark chocolate needs to be stored the right way.
Yes.
Although it is pretty durable. It doesn't melt, it has a pretty high melting point, but it isn't as good when it's soft.
Yeah, agreed. Ivy.
I'm going to get decimated for this, but chocolate belongs in the garbage. No, just
Freezer.
kidding. I'm not super into chocolate. And so I have one bar that is like probably a year old. So I keep it in the fridge in case like, I don't know, I have a guest that like needs it or something, or maybe it was a gift. I don't know. So yeah, in the fridge. Sorry guys.
I don't know how people, Keegan's shaking his head too. I don't know
sorry.
how people live without chocolate.
Like it's fine if someone like, offers it to me. I won't like, hurt their feelings and say no, like I'll eat it and like happily do so. But it's not something I would like choose normally. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Do I still have a job or?
Could pull the mic cord.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.
If you think I have better hair than Jonathan, give it a thumbs up. If not, leave a comment.
My hair is better than his.